It's time for a hair video. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've been doing hair since I was 19 years old, so I guess I might be losing the passion and now just want to be a full-time reptile person. But you gotta pay the bills, you gotta do what works, so hair is my thing. We are now doing a color correction on Ariel. She has had white blonde hair, so we got her like white blonde for a while, about a year or something, and then going back from blonde. Anytime somebody wants to go from blonde dark, it's nice to kind of go through a journey, you know, dye your hair red, dye your hair brown, like go slowly darker, and then choose, you know, do you want to have blonde hair, do you want to have dark hair, and whatever you want, work within that for about a year, because your hair's not going to enjoy going from blonde to dark and dark to blonde, and it's really kind of not possible to keep your hair in good condition while doing that, regardless of what people say, because hair is dead. So when something's dead, what can you do? You can't bring it back to life. So lots of people lie and say, oh, you can do this, use this, it's like a miracle for your hair. But when your nail cracks, you have to cut it off. You can't do anything to fix that nail crack. When hair starts going bad, it doesn't usually get better. You gotta just keep taking good care of it and not being as harsh on it. We're doing a color change. We're going from color that she has now to lighter. And when doing color corrections and changing from dark hair to brighter hair, even if your color's faded out, the color molecules are clear and they stay in the hair and they make it hard for the hair to lift. So before doing any bleaching or any of that, you should first color remove. Always color remove. It's something that lots of people skip or try to leave out and then bleach, or, you know, do a lot of crazy stuff. There's no cutting corners. If you want to do things properly, you have to do them properly. And this is one of the things I don't like about color. If you want to do it properly, it's going to be really expensive. It's going to take a lot of time. So the first step to going brighter when you have color in your hair is color remove all that color, especially if it's warm. Her hair was like purple, so bleach might not even take it out. So we're going in with the color remover. We're trying out a product called Color Oops from Walmart for like 18 bucks, because my favorite color remover they don't make anymore, which was L'Oreal's Effacor. Any of you use that? I miss it, but it's gone now. It's pretty cool to see what it did. It removed all that color, and purple is made out of what? It's made out of red and blue, and all the red came out, so it was like pretty surprising, because lots of the time red is a nightmare to take out, but it took out all the red and it actually left the blue. Yeah. Crazy. Stop it.
Oh, so trashy.
What are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
So I'm doing like that front, kind of making the front brighter by bleaching out the front, and then putting in some sliced highlights and stuff, and you can't see anything. Okay, there you go. You can see me again. Okay, so I'm putting in highlights. We're using some bleach. I never use 40 volume, just so that you all know. I use 30 volume. If I have to bleach it twice with 30 volume, I'd rather do that. I just don't like 40 volume. I find it just blasts the cuticle open. It does it faster, but it just fast isn't always better. I like to use 30 volume. My favorite bleach is Powder Blonde. Is it called Power Blonde or Powder Blonde by Scruples? I used to be a color educator for them, and I find it works really well. I like to put bleach in, not use any heat, and let it sit for 45 minutes to an hour. Usually I let it sit for an hour. It's not going to do anything bad. So we're sticking in some highlights. When doing highlights, if somebody has a lot of hair and it's really thick, I like to kind of put slices underneath and then highlights on the top part. So slices gives you more blonde underneath, and then highlights on top make it look more natural. Because if you put slices in on top, you end up with it looking kind of stripy or zebra-y, which we don't want. We want it to look natural and elegant. I believe elegant is the word for everything, because it's so easy to just do a few little simple things that'll make the hair look so much better and natural. Another thing going around, well, I bleached out the whole hairline, but usually I don't touch the hairline with any highlights. And sometimes when you look at the way that the hair parts, I kind of follow the hair parting and go up a little bit diagonally instead of just doing your highlights in straight lines going up one side, the other side, and the back. If you kind of follow the way the hair falls with the highlights, it'll also make them look a lot more natural. Another thing that I'll see some hairdressers do is they'll start off with the back first and then do the front last. And the reasoning will be that the back will be more difficult and take longer to process, but I still always do the front first, because to me the front is the most important. The front is what everyone is going to be looking at. The back of your head, if it's a little off, which most of the time it isn't, but if you had to choose between it under processing a touch in the front or in the back, I'd always rather it be in the back and the bottom where no one's going to see or no one's going to notice. Because if for whatever reason you have difficult hair that doesn't want to lift, if the front is a little too warm or anything, that's going to stand out and everyone's going to see it. So yeah, we never want to make mistakes, but if we do make mistakes, keep them where nobody has to look at them. Make sure that front looks nice, bright, and clean, and then do the back. And in the back, don't have to worry as much, work a little bit faster, and just get all those highlights in there. Put big chunks underneath, and you'll get more brightness. Ariel does have a ton of hair though. Okay. So now we've done the highlights, we've done the color remover, and as you can see, it's way brighter. It lifted pretty well. She had about 4 inches of natural hair, and then the rest was all the color and stuff. So you can see on the ends, it looks a bit lighter, but I figured it'd be okay. We got it pretty light, and now we're gonna throw a 7A on top of everything. So throughout my whole career, I've never really used toners much. I don't really like them. I really think that most of the time when you're coloring hair, you can use regular permanent hair color, and that will tone the hair better. And if you're able to tone the hair with the color that you choose to do the base color. So for instance, by putting 7A on everything, it's gonna lift her natural part that is darker, and it's gonna take all those bright parts and it's gonna make them darker too. But the highlighted parts will fade and look brighter, and the natural parts will be darker and we'll get that contrast. Looking at it now, it looks terrible. But now imagine trying to tone all those highlights and then throw some sort of other color in between. It's just, you make a lot more work for yourself. Most of the time, if you're doing blonde with a brown base, you can use like a 5A, a 6A, a 7A, throw that on all the natural hair while the highlights are in, rinse the highlights kind of out, and then mix that color into everything. And that way you'll keep the highlights a little bit brighter. Or you can just do the highlights and then throw 7A on top of everything. It'll give you your base color and it'll tone everything out. This was like 5 hours of work at least, so it was a long day. And Ariel and her happiness all the time, you can tell she's very happy. Always complaining about something. But anyway, so now, like I said, we're going in with the 7A everywhere. Lots of shops will shampoo this in, but for me, I go in through section by section and make sure I apply it everywhere, especially on people that have a ton of hair. You know, if you're coming to the salon and you're paying to get your hair colored, they shouldn't do it the way you would in your shower. Now we're looking at the final color, It is hard to see, especially in the lighting conditions, because the lighting in my salon is terrible. Giving her a little trim, and then you can take a look at it when it's done. We're gonna take you back to our place, and you're gonna look at it with a proper light so you can see what it really looks like, because it's really hard to see. Smile, turn, shake it around. Okay, let me just do one more. Nice. Turn. Yay. Keep turning. Shake it a bit or run your fingers through it. Yay. Okay. Perfect. Very nice. Thank you.